How am I gonna start off this year's BCG Disney week? Thinking. What to do. Oh, it's so hard to think of new ideas all the time. It gets so exhausting and repetitive. Oh God, what am I gonna do? Oh my God, I just came up with a brilliant idea. I'll go check the internet for suggestions. How to begin BCG Disney week. Let's see. Okay, top results. How about you start it on time, you fat, lazy bastard? Well, that's rude. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and I'm sorry, okay? I know I'm very late with this. In typical BCG fashion, I dropped the ball once again. Please guys, just forgive me and watch my videos, please. I need you desperately, please. Okay, enough joking around, but I do apologize that I'm starting this week off a tad late. It's not typical of me to do that for at least this week, but nonetheless, guys, welcome to BCG Disney Week, an entire week dedicated to all things Disney, from reviews to top 10s to special videos. And I decided to kickstart this BCG Disney Week with a very special review of a highly anticipated sequel I've been waiting 6 years for, and it's finally here. Ralph Breaks the Internet, aka Wreck-It Ralph 2. So Ralph Breaks the Internet begins with Ralph and Vanellope hanging out and playing various games within the arcade. And while they're doing this, Vanellope expresses to Ralph her dissatisfaction and boredom with the monotony of her video game Sugar Rush. It's become so mundane and easy to do that it just doesn't thrill her like it used to. She's looking for something new, fun, and exciting. And so to cheer her up, Ralph decides to carve out a new path in Sugar Rush for Vanellope to take. But in the process, ends up wrecking her game. There you go. Typical Ralph, just has to go and wreck everything, but it is in his name after all. Which causes her game to be unplugged, leaving the citizens of Sugar Rush homeless, including Vanellope. So they try to figure out how are they going to be able to fix their game, and they find out that not only do they have an internet access, they can go find the part that's missing in the internet. So Ralph and Vanellope decide to travel to the internet, find the part so that they can fix Vanellope's game and everything can go back to normal. Or will it? Now, it really shouldn't come as a surprise to any of you, especially if you've been subscribed to me since 2012, and if it is, shame on you, that I'm a huge fan of the first Wreck-It Ralph. Not only was it a solid homage to retro games of the 80s and 90s, but it was a fantastic story about a villain who no longer wanted to play the villain role. He hated being vilified and hated by people. He just wanted to be the hero, someone that people looked up to, heaped praises on, and liked. He just wanted to be liked by people. But through the course of the film, he begins to realize that just because he plays a villain role, that does not define him as an individual. He can still be a hero to somebody while playing a villainous role. A lesson that he learned by forming a really strong, convincing, and amazing friendship with a young, spunky, charismatic, energetic little rascal named Vanellope. I love that movie to death, and it's still one of those movies that I watch constantly. In fact, if I remember correctly, it's in my top 10 favorite Disney films. That's how much I loved it. And so here I was, just hoping, praying to the animation gods that they would grace me with a sequel to Wreck-It Ralph. I'll take anything, a direct-to-DVD sequel, or I guess direct-to-streaming, I don't know, or a TV series, anything. Just give me more Wreck-It Ralph. I want more Wreck-It Ralph. And thank goodness the animation gods heard my prayers and graced us with the news back in 2016 that they were going to move forward on a Wreck-It Ralph sequel with Ralph and Vanellope exploring the internet, which means the realm of possibilities of the things that they could do was ever expanding, and I was so excited. I could not wait for this film to come out. And the trailers that I kept seeing got me more and more excited. I made a bunch of videos, one of which got 1 million views, which was pretty damn cool. So I was just waiting all year for this film to come out. It's finally out, and what do I think about it? Let's get into it. Hands down, the greatest element in Ralph Breaks the Internet, the true heart of the film, lies in the impeccable, dynamic, and surprisingly touching and relatable friendship between Ralph and Vanellope. I loved it to death. I could not get enough of it. It's as strong as it was in the first film, if not strong. You know what? Scratch that. It is definitely stronger than the first film. And I adored every single moment, every single scene that these two shared on screen. Whether it be them just chilling at tappers, playing video games, having quippy, bantery exchanges, or having these sentimental, soft, slow, tender moments where the two of them get serious with one another. I loved it all. I could not get enough of their friendship. It was just so infectious. You feel the connection between the two. And the dilemma that their friendship faced in this film is not only interesting, complex, and quite unique for a Disney film to tackle, as I've not seen a Disney film actually address this type of issue, but it was also extremely relatable, as I know many of us have been in a similar situation with a very close friend. I know that I was, and how their friendship ends by the end of the film, or where their friendship ends up by the end of the film, I should say, is exactly verbatim the same situation that I am currently in with a close friend of mine. And when I saw that scene, I got shivers. I got chills. I was literally seeing my life reflected in this film. The friendship between Ralph and Vanellope struck a chord with me, and it resonated with me so much. I can't say enough good things about this friendship. I love it to death. They have great chemistry. Every single time I see them on screen, I could not help but smile and see what they were going to get into next. And, you know, in the past I said that their friendship was one of the best I've ever seen in a Disney film. I was wrong. It is the absolute best I've seen in a Disney film. What other Disney friendship even comes close to the one that Ralph and Vanellope have? What, the Fox and the Hound? What, Judy and Nick? I would say those guys are runner-ups, but they pale in comparison to Ralph and Vanellope. That friendship is so great. It's like the gold standard from here on out. Whenever I see friendships in Disney films, they either need a match or be better. And I doubt I'll ever see another great friendship like this. I have to give it up to the writers and the directors of this film, who also made Zootopia, which also focused on a really great friendship. They truly know how to form strong bonds between characters, and it's in full display here in Ralph Breaks the Internet. Well done, guys, well done. Not only that, but as individual characters, both Ralph and Vanellope are quite strong. Ralph as a character in this film really likes where his life is at. He doesn't want anything to change, but when a new situation presents itself and change is creeping in, he starts to get defensive and insecure about the state of his friendship with Vanellope, which makes him act emotionally, and he acts scared. Something, again, that a lot of us can probably relate to. And I like his growth throughout the film, realizing that no matter what happens, no matter where Vanellope is, their friendship will always be strong. And as for Vanellope, she's still as fun and full of spunk as ever. And the dilemma that she faced as a character was quite enthralling, and I was interested to see how the character was going to grow throughout the film. I actually liked the direction they took with her character. Very fascinating. But the real thing that really stood out to me about her character is that she went full-on Disney princess in this film. Not only was she interacting with the Disney princesses and also has a Disney princess-esque song in the middle of the film, but I was thinking about this as I was leaving the theater, and I realized, wait a minute, she's dissatisfied with her life and she wants something new. She wants a new adventure in the great wide somewhere. She's sick of her provincial life. Doesn't that sound like the mentality of a Disney princess? Like, oh, I'm tired of being stuck in this rut. I want something new. I want to get out there, adventure. I'm like, wait a minute. That's almost every single Disney princess. Oh my God, Vanellope. You have now become a bona fide Disney princess. Congratulations, finally. The voice acting and animation were great, as to be expected. I like the colors, I like the visuals, the characters look great, I like the designs, especially with Yes. Throughout the film, she actually has different outfits and different hairstyles because she's all about what's trendy. I like that. It made her visually interesting. Not to mention, Mama's thick as hell, dude. Like, you need to see this film, and my goodness, whew. She might give Elastigirl a run for her money. John C. Reilly still kills it as Wreck-It Ralph. Sarah Silverman is still fantastic as Vanellope, and I really actually liked her performance. She did very well, not only in the comedic sense, but in the dramatic sense. I was quite surprised at how well she pulled off her performance. The humor here is as witty, solid, entertaining, and above all else, funny as the first film, with many laugh out loud moments and moments that made me smile intensely. In fact, I smiled intensely for a majority of this film. I found many of the referential gags, visual gags, funny quips, few puns here and there. I just found them all to be quite humorous or hilarious. And I am extremely grateful that the film does not pull an Emoji Movie by forcefully incorporating and overplaying the famous internet websites or intellectual properties into the film itself. The only one that actually is ingrained into the story but plays a very small part is eBay and Oh My Disney. And with eBay, you know, they go into eBay because they're buying something, and that's pretty much it. It's not like they go in like, oh my God, eBay is such a great place. I love eBay. I should go shopping here all the time. Oh, what a great experience I had at eBay. You know, like some hacks would do in some films. Not naming names, of course. Although, to be fair to the creators of the Wreck-It Ralph series, it is insulting to compare them to those hacks over at Sony, because they're clearly way more creative, smarter, intelligent, witty. They actually know how to tell a coherent story without seeming like making a cash grab film. So apologies for comparing you to them, but I'm still glad you did not take that route. You did not take that cliche route. You did not cop out by incorporating all of these places, saying, oh look, it's Twitter, oh look, it's Facebook. They were mostly there just as a visual reference to say, hey, this is the internet and here's proof. There's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's IMDb. They didn't have to go into these places. They actually mostly interacted in original websites. Love that. I found the story to be very interesting. I liked the beats that it took, the dramatic moments, the hilarious moments, and I liked how it all concluded. I did kind of have a problem with the third act, which I will touch upon later on, but overall, I found the story very entertaining from beginning to end. I will say though that they were pretty hit or miss when it came to the actual representation of what the internet is like. Now, in some cases, like when it comes to the comment section, they have to censor that. There's no way they're actually going to show what real YouTube or YouTube-like comments are going to be like. This is a PG film, after all. It's a Disney film. They can't go R-rated. So that's understandable. But one of the things I had an issue with is the whole use of cats. Cats are not as popular on the internet as they used to be. They did the same thing in the Emoji Movie, and I don't understand because cats are no longer popular on the internet. It's not like everybody posts things about cats, or the internet's just full of cat videos. That was a meme like 10 years ago. We're beyond that. And they do sort of address it with the whole algorithm and what's trending and not, but I don't know why they even had to incorporate cats. They didn't have to do that. Makeup tutorials was smart to mention. Video gaming was smart to mention. Challenge videos, smart to mention. So they have sort of an understanding of how trends work or what are big trends on YouTube-like servers. But the whole cat thing, that was the one thing that irritated me throughout the film. Like, cats are not a thing anymore. Stop making it seem like it's a thing. And the last great thing to come from Ralph Breaks the Internet, and I'm sure you all saw this one coming, the Disney princess scene. For me at least, it did not disappoint. It was everything that I wanted it to be. The only problem that I had with it was that it was incredibly short. It was like 3 to 4 minutes long, and I'm like, no, I want to see more. I want to see these princesses interacting with Vanellope more. I actually wanted them to go out on the town or like help her with her adventure or something like that. But I understand they did not want the Disney princesses to hijack the story or, you know, to overstay their welcome. I understand wholeheartedly they were not the main purpose of the story. They're the icing on the cake. Man, I really wanted to see more of them. I really wanted to see them touch on all these Disney princess tropes and cliches, grill and interrogate Vanellope as she learns the ways of a Disney princess. There's actually this one exchange with Ariel. I won't give it away, but the moment I saw it, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. It's so true. It's so true. And Vanellope's bewilderment of it was just perfect. Absolutely perfect. And it also leads to another funny scene with Vanellope that, again, I won't give it away, but let's just say it's very Disney princess-like. And it's kind of a parody of what a Disney princess does. Also, guys, when you watch this film, really pay attention to the shirts that the Disney princesses are wearing, as some of them have some really funny references to their very own movies. The one that I will share with you guys because I loved it so much is that Anna is wearing a shirt that says "Finish Each Other's," and I'm guessing there might have been like a sandwich at the bottom of her shirt, and I'm just like, oh my god, I loved it. It's so great. It's so good. But it really pains me to say this, guys, because as much as I thoroughly enjoyed Ralph Breaks the Internet, deep down, I just can't deny the many issues I had with it. More so than Wreck-It Ralph. The biggest one being its third act. I found the third act to be incredibly underwhelming and uninteresting. It dragged on for far too long. The main threat wasn't all that intimidating, and I just never felt the weight or severity of the situation. Now, there's not an actual villain in the film. They took the Moana approach where there's not an actual main baddie. There's just a bad situation that they have to resolve. So I got it wrong. Yes, it's not a villain in the film. It's not really all that upsetting. I'm perfectly fine with that. But the main threat itself, while it makes sense in the context of the story being told and also ties in actually quite cleverly to the title, I just didn't feel it. I did not buy this threat. It's no Turbo for sure. But the worst thing about the third act is how they kept shoving in this friendship message. And it made me kind of sad because I expected more from this team. They're far more clever than the typical Disney friendship speech, the typical Disney friendship message. And they could have conveyed it in a much more intellectual, creative, and unique way. But instead, they just cop out and do the cliche friendship speech route. The realization that Ralph came to in the climax of Wreck-It Ralph was handled far better than the one that he came to here in Ralph Breaks the Internet. In there, they harken back to a line said at the beginning of the film where "I'm bad and that is good," and it's where he fully embraces the fact that although he is a villain, he can still be a good guy. There's a bit of poetry in that scene. Whereas in Ralph Breaks the Internet, he literally has to explain like, okay, friends do this, friends do that, this is the true meaning of friendship. I don't know, it irritated me. I did not expect to see that. I expected them to handle that far better. Another major issue I found was the lack of a B plot, which is a side story that's away from or not connected to the A story, which is the main story. In this film, it's solely focused on the A story, Ralph and Vanellope venturing into the internet and the turmoil facing their friendship. And while I don't consider that to be too much of a bad thing, it would have been nice to have a break here and there to follow other characters or to see a different scenario, like following Fix-It Felix and Calhoun, which leads to my next problem with the fact that Fix-It Felix and Calhoun are in the movie. They make 2 appearances, one at the beginning, one at the end. Are you kidding me? They were one of my favorite characters in the first film. And the sad thing is, and this all ties in together, is that the film set up a potentially interesting B story or B plot with Calhoun and Fix-It Felix having to raise 15 wild children. It would have been great to see them interacting with the kids from Sugar Rush, the racers from Sugar Rush, and how they kind of made them good, or like how they disciplined them, maybe even get more of Calhoun's flashbacks, you know, something. I would have loved to see them in the film, and the fact that we're only given 2 to 3 scenes with them is insulting to me. You know, I know that they weren't really the main characters in the first film, but they did get moments focused on them. There was a B story in Wreck-It Ralph, and guess who it followed? Fix-It Felix and Calhoun. And it was really good. It was refreshing to break away from the Ralph Vanellope story and follow the Fix-It Felix and Calhoun story, because they had an interesting relationship. I like the fact that they fell in love with each other. That was hilarious. And the whole backstory with Calhoun, just so great. The fact that we're not given moments with them is kind of sad. It's a missed opportunity. And the final issue I had with Ralph Breaks the Internet pertains to some of the new supporting characters introduced in the film. A majority of them I found incredibly underwhelming, almost as underwhelming as the third act. Particularly Yes. I mean, they built this character up a lot. You know, it made it seem like she was going to play a prevalent role in the film. And while she is an integral part to the film, I can't say that she truly stood out outside of the way she looked. Personality-wise, well, I kind of got a gist that she's all about what's the new trend and all that stuff. She didn't really bond much with Ralph or Vanellope. We didn't really get a gist of her character as a whole. And I wish she was in the adventure more, like she palled around with Ralph or palled around with Vanellope. I will say this, Shank turned out to be a much more interesting character than I thought she would be. And I'm glad that she did. And Gal Gadot did a fantastic job voicing the character. Just a unique character, both visually and personality-wise. I like the relationship she formed with Vanellope. I'm sorry I didn't talk about that earlier, but now that I'm talking about new side characters, like Shank, not so much, yes. And that's what disappoints me the most, because they heavily pushed her. And it made it seem like she was going to be something worthwhile, and she didn't really turn out to be that. And then there's Nosemore. Nosemore shows up 2 times, I think, in the film. Just two. What a waste of Alan Tudyk. I thought he would be far more interesting than that. I get that he's a search bar. It would have been interesting if, like, there were multiple Nosemores throughout the internet, and he kept popping up, and he's like, "Oh, it's you again." Or they mistake. It's like the Pokemon thing, where they would go to a new Poke Center, or they'll visit a new Poke Police Center, and they see the Nurse Joys and the Officer Betty's, and they all look the same, and they think it's the same person, but it's not. It's a different person. I thought they could have took that approach. That would have been hilarious, but nope. Missed opportunity, I guess. But overall, though this film does have its fair share of issues, I still really enjoyed Ralph Breaks the Internet. The story was fun, the humor was solid, and the relationship between Ralph and Vanellope is incredible. They're the true reason why I really got a kick out of this film. They are the heart and soul of the film, and they're the reason why I think Ralph Breaks the Internet is still worth watching. If you're a fan of the original, you're going to see it regardless of what I have to say. But if you're not a fan of the original and you want to check this one out, I say check it out, because again, that relationship is just handled so well. It's so beautiful. Go give it a watch for yourself, guys. But as always, guys, I'm not the end-all be-all opinion when it comes to Ralph Breaks the Internet. I would love to know what you guys thought of the film as well. Did you love it to death? Is it one of your favorite films of the year? Is it your favorite Disney film of all time? Or did you find it boring, monotonous, cliche? You just couldn't stand it, you hated the ending, it didn't live up to your expectations? And let me know, what is the most dynamic relationship or friendship you've seen in a Disney film? Comment below, let me know, and stay tuned. More videos for Disney Week are on their way. Once this video is done, I'm going to work on the top 10. I'm going to work on that Toy Story video. I'm going to work on that Pixar video, another top 10, a review on a rebooted TV show, wink wink. So many things I have down the pipeline. Hopefully I can get them done. Please, just let me get them done. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm glad that I don't have to hold the camera anymore. I actually found a way to prop up my phone so I could use the camera like this. So hopefully in future videos I could just do it like this. But as always, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on the channel, be a part of the Black Critic Crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. Join my Discord, there's a link in the description. And if you'd like to send me a fan letter, send it to this P.O. box right up here. I'm doing a fan letter reading this weekend over on Tony Talks, so stay tuned for that. And as always, I'm Tony Walt II, the sweaty, hot, and losing his voice Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.